if I just work hard and stay on this road I'm on, like, I'll eventually get somewhere because it's a straight road. You know, like, I guess in the same way, if you follow the spiral, if you just keep working hard, and you stay on that thing, you're gonna get somewhere. But if you step off to the side, you might just get totally lost, but you also might end up way ahead. I can think any other shortcut. It's like kind of like, you know, there's some risk involved, but it's also like always more exciting, and you don't have to feel like you're like in like direct competition with anybody. You just kind of get to like just play around in your own little playground. Hello, this is Gus Engle, and you're listening to the Not Snowboarding Podcast. Welcome.
Are you into snowboarding, surfing, skateboarding, or just trying to catch some bodacious rays? Then Let It Block has you covered. Let It Block is a mineral-based sunscreen, perfect for an active lifestyle.
Peeling dead skin off after a sunburn is a lot of fun. However, doing this often can lead to serious health concerns. Nate and I aren't as nerdy as you might think or hear in Nate's voice. We actually do get outside in hella sunny weather and need a sunscreen that will protect without the use of harsh chemicals.
Let It Block sunscreens are mineral-based, paraben-free. They protect against both UVA and UVB rays. They provide water-resistant protection for up to 80 minutes, and they are FDA approved for everyday use.
Whether you're at the beach, enjoying a sunny day on the slopes, playing a game of skate in an empty parking lot for some leftover french fries, getting pitted while crowd surfing at a lit AF music festival, or finally getting out of the dark room in your parents' basement to play Pokemon Go, Let It Block is your go-to in sunscreen.
Let It Block comes in 2 SPF 30 varieties, including their original formula and Sun DMC. For our fairer skin fans, use the Goth Block. It's rated at SPF 50.
When I've been fully consumed by a Stranger Things binge-watching marathon in the darkest possible room in my house, I grab Goth Block. If I've been sponging on my boogie board for weeks and I already have a decent base tan going, Sun DMC is my jam.
They are also the official sunscreen of the Surfrider Foundation. Let It Block is extending a special offer to the Not Snowboarding Podcast audience. Order 2 packages of sunscreen or more and receive 40% off by using discount code TNSP at letitblock.com. That offer is valid through the end of this year, 2016. It's a $12 savings, and oh, by the way, the holidays are coming up. Let It Block also makes the perfect gift. Use one for yourself and give one to your special someone. So in addition to the discount, and as you'll hear in today's episode, I'm trying to divest myself of my glut of snowboarding gear. So I have a pair of old Sims bindings from the 90s, a pair of size 10.5 32 Sonic snowboard boots with plenty of life left in them. The Sonic was a stiffer boot that 32 released, I think it was 4 years ago. And I've got duplicates of a couple of snowboarding movies that I can let go of as well. The Grenade Gloves movie, Revenge of the Gnerds. And appropriately for today's guest, I also have an extra copy of Think Tanks, Cue the Birds. I'll put a picture of all this stuff in the show notes with this episode. And if you want any of this stuff, I'm going to give it away to anyone that screenshots their receipt from their purchase on letitblock.com with the TNSP discount code. Just email me your screenshot to the email address nate@shredsouls.com. Welcome to episode number 47 of the Not Snowboarding Podcast. So I want to say a quick thank you because we've seen a really nice uptick over the past couple of weeks of folks clicking through the Amazon banner ad located at the podcast support page. Many, many thanks to everyone that's made a habit of clicking through that link before shopping on Amazon. It's a great way to support the show without costing you anything. Amazon just kicks us a small commission for whatever you are already going to purchase. So I've been struggling to think of the best words to describe today's guest, Gus Engle. And I came upon the following excerpt from an article on ESPN, of all places, written by Matt Vantta back in 2012. And I think it still holds pretty true for today. Matt says, Gus Engle is a true original, a bohemian lover of life that appears to be drawn right out of a Kerouac novel. His snowboard seems to be less an instrument of athletic progression and more like a paintbrush of a master. To really dig Engle's snowboarding, you have to be open-minded, because it's not manufactured and doesn't meet industry standards for how you're supposed to ride. I I think that Matt's words do a good job of starting to paint the picture of Gus, but I'd just add from my own personal takeaway from the conversation that Gus has a kind, authentic, infectious energy and an appreciation for beauty that lies in the subtleties of daily life that many others take for granted, including me. We cover a wide variety of topics in this episode, ranging from Russian literature to milking moose to the role that Jesse Bertner's played in Gus's life. We get into his most recent video project, Posy Posy, his current obsession with music, the difference between filming with Think Tank versus the Videograss crew, and thoughts on consumerism. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's episode.
How's it going? Nice to meet you.
It's going really well. Nice to meet you. I'm down in my basement, aka the podcast studio, with AJ.
Actually, my name's Cody, and my dad owned Borderline, so it's nice to meet you, Gus.
Wait, what? Is that true?
That's not true. My name's AJ.
Hey, AJ.
How's it going, man?
Going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you on the show today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
So where are you located right now?
I'm living in Quebec City.
How long have you been living there?
Only kind of been like moving all around, but I was living down in I've been living in the province for like the last probably 2 or 3 years, pretty steady. And just like kind of all over, I was in Montreal for a while, and I was out kind of in a cabin for a while, and now I'm in Quebec City.
What prompted the move there?
I'm married to a Québécois.
Les Québécois?
Oui, un Québécois.
Un Québécois. Je suis désolé, mon frère. Mon ami.
Pas problem.
So she took you out of Alaska. She made you give up living in Alaska. It's either me or Alaska, Gus.
She didn't have to force me too much. But I was like pretty. I don't know. Alaska, I love it, but I just like it. Can be I don't know. It can be rough.
It's that lack of vitamin D, not enough sun.
Probably that. Probably some of that. I was telling my friend here the other day, he was talking about Dostoyevsky, and I was like, I can't read it because it feels too much like home. I feel like I'm like that's where I'm from. It's too much just a reality for me. But
wait, he was telling you about what, and you can't read it?
Just talking about how much he likes Dostoyevsky, but.
So I'm not well read. I don't know anything about.
Is that a Russian
Dostoyevsky
writer?
He's a Russian. He wrote Crime and Punishment and
yeah,
and other books that I haven't read.
Yeah, he's just it's just super bleak. Not all the but Russian literature is. So just I don't know. Alaska can be pretty bleak like that. I guess It feels kind of bleak sometimes, but it's so beautiful too, man. It's it's got a crazy pull because it's kind of has things that you can't get anywhere else, but also there's a special kind of sadness that goes along with Alaska.
A special kind of sadness. I think I saw that band at Warped Tour. But I've never been to Alaska, and I've never been actually to Quebec. But Alaska to me seems that has that beauty, that natural, just you're blown away by just looking around. Yeah. But then, I've been to Russia, and the people there are affected by the climate, certainly, and have that sort of that reserved a little bit of, life is hard here. So I could, maybe see that in the people that come from Alaska. But you seem like a really happy person to me, the way you come across. It's do you ever come across to people oh, you're a little bit more cold and reserved? Did people ever say that to you?
No, not really. But But I like, like I got like two sides, like my close friends, like all know that, and I think like a lot of people from Alaska do because it's so, it's like summer is so entirely wonderful and winter is wonderful too, but it's like that. It's like a land of happy, sad. It's a happy, sad place, It's like never in between. It's very black and white, It's
Sure.
like. And I think that's what people are too. It's like you meet people and they're like they can be it's like everybody has two sides.
Yeah, exactly. The extreme ends of the pendulum on both ends. You mentioned reading and reading.
Congratulations for reading, Gus. For everyone that can't read or doesn't know how to read, congratulations.
What are you reading right now, or what's the most interesting book you've read of late?
Man, what have I been reading lately? Oh man, yeah, my friend gave me actually I've been trying to read this like how do you call it? A graphic novel in French. Like it's like my second book I've ever tried to read in French, and it's pretty cool because it's got pictures, so I don't lose the I can't perdre le fil. You can't lose the you can never get lost, because you can always look at the pictures. So it's pretty cool. It's like all about like these it's like based in 1914. It's all these like French pirates and stuff. It's so cool. It's called Corto Maltese, or that's the author, Corto Maltese.
That's kind of like a good way to learn another language is always that visual association. So you're not just doing the written, but you're also getting another stimulus, right? So you're seeing almost like a children's book when you're teaching kids to read, right?
Yeah, man, exactly. Yeah.
It probably helps having a French-Canadian language tutor in the house as well.
Yeah, that's pretty nice for sure.
Are you just learning French to be able to communicate with her better?
No, I don't know. I guess so. I mean, I guess I really love Quebec so much. Like, I really consider it like home now. So I don't know. I just it's kind of especially in the north, like Quebec, and pretty much anywhere north of Montreal. I feel like you pretty much need to speak French, or you are pretty isolated. So,
is it that people just don't speak English up there, or is it more like culturally kind of ostracized because you don't speak French?
Well, it's kind of some of both. Like, definitely a lot of people don't speak English, like the older generation, especially. And then it's just kind of like any other country where if you don't speak the language, you get together with a bunch of people that are from the city, and they will speak their native language, and you know what I mean? It's not to be mean, it's just because that's what's going on, you know what I mean? That's like the way it goes. So but I think people are I haven't gotten a lot of people intentionally oh no, I'm not going to speak English with you, I think most people really like to practice their English and yeah, but it's cool to speak French, man. You gotta I don't know, gotta learn the native language if you're trying to fit in after a while.
Were there any other languages you spoke? Did you speak an Inuit language when you lived in Nilnachik?
No, man. My grandpa's first language was Russian. Because it's a really Russian. It was a Russian village, but I guess it's a Russian and native village. But no, I don't. I mean, I know some words and stuff, but my mom speaks a little bit more than me. But I mean, it was pretty Russian, I think, by the time even when my mom came around. And I don't think they were really speaking. I don't know if my grandpa. I never met my grandpa because he was 100% native. But he died when my mom was 16, so I never got to meet him. But he, I don't know if he spoke. He was an Aleut. I don't know if he spoke Aleut or not. But I know his first language was Russian, and he spoke English and Russian, and I'm sure it was kind of a mix. I guess it still is today. The people that speak Russian out there still kind of there's a lot of Indian words in there.
So you're this kid in Alaska, but then you also have this alternate life in Hawaii. Could you maybe share a little bit about your childhood, how it all kind of worked with the travel between Hawaii and Alaska, and when you first saw a board, whether it was a skateboard, surfboard, or snowboard?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we would just, it was really cool. Like we'd spend the winters in Hawaii and then we'd spend the summers in Alaska. It was like pretty good migration.
I have to interrupt. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm an interrupter, but why? Why was your family doing that? Was it just weather based?
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as I could tell, I think they just like the winter. They just didn't want to hang out during the winter anymore. And my dad just worked like construction, so he would just get like construction jobs like in both places. And we just lived in a little like in both places. We just lived in a little cabin. Like we lived in like a little cabin in Alaska, and then we lived in like a little like house the size of like I don't know, like the size of a bedroom with like bunk beds, and we lived like completely off the grid and stuff. It was crazy. We like gathered all our water and like got our electricity from solar and stuff. And I think it was just because there was no electricity going out there, but and my parents were pretty like hippie and stuff. But
what island did you live on in Alaska? I'm sorry, Hawaii.
Big Island.
Oh, the Big Island. That's like okay. Hilo, is that right?
We didn't live in Hilo. We lived in Kona. Like, there's Hilo's like the other side.
Okay.
Did you drink the Kona coffee?
No, man, because I only lived there until I was like 8 years old, so I didn't really drink any coffee.
You weren't drinking coffee by 8?
No, man.
Pretty standard nowadays. Kids are hopped up on everything.
I know, man. Yeah. It's true.
I went to Kona last year, and I had stopped drinking coffee maybe 6 or 8 months before. But we did a tour of one of the bean places, and I just felt like I'm in Kona. This is like really popular. It's going to be fresh. And I had a few cups of the coffee, and that's the last time I've ever drank any coffee. It was really good, though.
Yeah. I can't drink coffee either, man. It makes me crazy. It's like, you got like a 2-week-long emotional roller coaster. It's so gnarly.
Oh, I'm up really high, and now I'm just dragging ass, man. I need more coffee.
I had a really bad reaction once to coffee, and I kind of cut it out from my life. Like I would occasionally, I'd be like, "Oh, I want like a warm drink in the winter," and if coffee's there, I would drink it. And then I'm like, I don't really like. I still like the taste and the smell. If I smell coffee beans, that's like, whoo, boy, buckle up.
Man. Dude, me too. I love it so much. I love the taste of it so much and everything, but I just can't drink it. It's crazy. I guess like it used to be considered a crazy drug too. Like I read this thing the other day about like, I think it was Bach or something. He wrote like a big like love song like dedicated to coffee. And, like, it was super controversial. Like when like the Beatles wrote like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or something, like they were like, because it was really like looked down upon. Like it was like a crazy drug like during his time, I guess. And dude, that's how it is to me, man. That shit is like, is seriously like, I don't know, man.
It's
really
I think Death Clock from Metalocalypse wrote a coffee love song too.
That's possible.
It's so funny how culture can determine what drugs are okay. You know, this is one that we're going to just all decide that we're going to be cool with. And then, but alcohol, this is killing all kinds of people. Tobacco, cigarettes, this is killing all kinds of people. And those are okay, but you know, don't use marijuana with the crazy 0 people that it's ever killed.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. It's pretty weird for sure. Strange thing, society.
So, do you drink tea?
Yeah, I mean sometimes, but man, even like dark chocolate, I gotta like be careful with. I'm like hypersensitive. It's pretty crazy.
You must have like a very pure ecosystem going on in your body. So, you know, when these things come in, they're just like, bing, you're getting all of it. Where most people, once you kind of like build up an immunity, you get used to it and it doesn't affect you quite as much.
You think that's it? Maybe that's it. Maybe I need. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know. I heard Native American. I mean, I'm only a quarter Native American, but like I heard like I know my mom has trouble with it too, and I heard Native Americans kind of have trouble like processing like that, like coffee sometimes. I don't know if that's true, but
are you lactose intolerant?
No, I eat cheese.
Okay, because I've heard that natives like dairy may be hard for natives.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It doesn't seem like that. I mean, I don't think were they drinking milk or anything? I don't think so.
I think a lot of the world, I mean, this could be a myth, but I think like, it seems like in the colder places, colder climates, dairy was a thing, cheese and stuff. But maybe because they could keep it cold. But then, like, you know, in some of the warmer climates, it doesn't seem like it's as much of a thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like, yeah.
But then in Alaska, it seems like, or maybe they just, I don't know.
Pickled fish.
Pickled fish?
Just
pickled fish, yeah.
Moose, is there moose milk? Do they?
I mean, there is. I don't know if anybody drinks.
Do people drink moose milk? I got this fresh moose cheese. Want some of this?
It doesn't seem like it would be good, though, and it seems like it'd be really dangerous to get. I don't know how you would get it.
You gotta be a moose whisperer to get the moose milk and the cheese. It's a delicacy. Well trained to sneak in there and get out.
So we kind of went down a little different path here, but
what, moose milk? We don't talk about that all the time.
Going back to when you were a kid, when was the first time that you saw a board? You know, was it a surfboard or a skateboard?
Man, that's pretty interesting. I mean, like, definitely probably a boogie board, I think.
Hey,
hell yeah.
Fellow sponger in the building. Woo!
Because, man, I was just a little kid in Hawaii, but at first time I skated, let's see, I got back. Yeah, man, okay, yeah, I got back, and we finally moved to, like, Anchorage, which was, like, the big city. Like, I stopped going to the village, and, like, we moved back up to, like, the city, and I went to, like a secondhand store, and I bought, like, a skateboard from, like, the 80s, and I went into Borderline. Like, I don't know if you guys know what Borderline is, but it's like the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad owns it. My name's Cody.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But yeah, man, I went in there. I bought this skateboard. I went in there, and Bertner was working, like, was working at Borderline. And I was like, this is a good skateboard. And everybody was just kind of, like, laughing at me because it was, like, just, like, you know, like a skateboard from the 80s and stuff. And, like, he, like, you know, like, told us we needed to, like, get a real skateboard and stuff.
Yeah, skateboards have noses now, dude.
That'd be cool nowadays. They'd be like, whoa, sick, dude. Like, that's really rad. Can you do a no comply?
Can I, personally?
No, I'm just like, oh, that's a cool board. Can you no comply? Do body burial and no comply. You'd be in. Some mom jeans? Shit.
I know, man. It's going off right now. It's so fun. It makes me feel old because that was just like normal skateboard style when I started.
Do you remember what board it was?
Man, I think it was like a Zorlax or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. That's not a bad start. I mean, at least you had like a legit company. You know.
Zorlax a legit company? I don't even know.
In its time. Yeah, in its time.
Okay, I don't really know. I don't know the history of Zorlax.
I like the name a lot. I don't know Zorlax either.
So,
is anyone big on Zorlax?
I think it was just Zorlac, if I remember correctly.
Zorlac. Yeah, that's right.
Zorlac. And then they had like a lot of kind of like skeleton type of graphics. You know, they were trying to appeal to the guy wearing the Metallica T-shirt, I think.
The cut off sleeves, Metallica.
Yeah. So what did Bertner set you up on?
Man, I think he pretty much just made fun of us. Actually, I don't know if he really did. Because I didn't even, like, I feel bad because I, like, should have bought, like, my first board at Borderline, but I guess I bought my first board at that second-hand shop, but then I went home and, like, probably bought it from, like, CCS or something. I don't know.
Well, he made fun of you. Why would you, like, get out of here, kid, you fucking kook. And then you're like, fine, I'm going to CCL's mail order.
But that was like a requirement in the 90s to, like ridicule, like, any employee that any, like, customer that walked into, like, the skate shop. I feel like it was less, I don't know, it was inclusive, but, like, you know, in a different way, I guess.
I feel like Supreme still does that. Like, when you go in Supreme, it's like, what do you want?
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy. It's cool. I don't know. I kind of always miss it a little bit because, like, I definitely missed it when I, like, Borderline disappeared, and then you'd go into like Zoomies or something, and it'd be like just so like like, I don't know, you know, trying to sell you stuff, and you know, them
trying to be your friend, like, really hard.
Yeah, like, just, but they're not really trying to be your friend, like, in any sort of meaningful way. It's like there's no culture. You know, there's no culture can be built up around that, you know. So
you've kind of discussed that before, you know, when you got into skateboarding and snowboarding. It wasn't just the skateboard and or the snowboard, there was also this identity that comes with it, and that's in some ways lacking or more watered down now.
Yeah, and I guess it's just because it was so pure before, because it was like because there was only like one type of, I mean, not one, yeah, I guess it was just like one kind of person doing it, like skateboarding and snowboarding. I feel like, one like I don't know. It's so culturally acceptable now to like be a skateboarder. Like, I don't know, from all walks of life, there's like people doing it, and it seems a lot more mainstream now, and that's fine, because skateboarding, the act remains the same. I always say that, but it's still a beautiful thing to do. It's snowboarding, skateboarding, still beautiful. But like, I think before it was like, yeah, it definitely came with like a lot more concrete sense of identity, I thought.
Yeah, it's funny for me because I grew up in a very rural area as well, and I thought as a skateboarder and snowboarder as a kid that I was one of maybe 5 or 6 in my town, and I thought that we'd probably never have a skate park. But there actually is one now, and it's because it is more culturally accepted. It's helped make some hurdles, and you saying the act is the same is kind of interesting, because you can get frustrated in the fact that you're going to the skate park and you've got to deal with this kid who's basically the same jock 10 years ago that would be making fun of you for skateboarding, but now he's skateboarding because, it was culturally acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes you, but that it's no, it is interesting. There's good and bad. There's good and bad parts for sure. That it's cool not to like get like completely harassed by police all the time. I mean, I know that still happens, but like, I think it was definitely worse in the 90s and stuff. Like, police were like, it was like militant back then. I feel like cops versus skaters. So,
well, I feel like I've said it before, but I feel like, because skating is an Olympic sport now, all you have to say is, I'm training for the Olympics. I'm trying to get a gold medal for America. Like, let's go back to it.
Yeah, that's my team. That's
cool. Salute, and like walk away. Like, get that grind. This is for America.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's yeah. I mean, football isn't even in the Olympics, right? Like, that's...
Wow, that's eye-opening. You're right.
American football?
Yeah.
It's not, I guess.
Wow.
That's right, man. Skateboarding is...
We beat them.
It's more American. We did it. USA.
Wow. That just blew my mind.
Kickflip for Uncle Sam. Smith grind for Uncle Sam.
That's definitely a good response. For sure.
So Bertner tried as hard as he could to make sure that you didn't ever like skateboarding, but nonetheless...
But in spite of Bertner, you still skated.
And when did you see a snowboard? How did that come about?
Let's see. I think I don't know, man. I was just hanging out at Borderline for a couple years, like being like a little like mall rat skateboarder kid, and like they like, and I would always hang out with Bertner and stuff, and like he like obviously was like, like kind of coming up in snowboarding and stuff, and like it's Alaska too, so, and we didn't have an indoor skate park, so we just kind of like naturally, I think in at least in like the scene I grew up in too, they were like super interconnected. Like everybody, like it wasn't like I'm a skater, I'm a snowboarder. It was like everybody was either like kind of doing both, Seemed like if you could, and so I just kind of bought one when winter came, like that first winter, and my friend taught me how to do it. My friend down the street, like on his hill, and that's like the first time I ever really rode one, and I thought it was so fun. It was crazy. I can still remember it. It was really cool. And
was it a Bertner approved snowboard? Like, was it cool enough for him?
Yeah, man. I bought a Sims because Bertner was like on Sims.
Oh, okay.
And I really like, obviously still do look up to Bertner. Did then, do now, kind of thing.
I think Bertner looks up to you now.
I think so too.
We've had Bertner on the show before, and he said that Gus is a genius. He's a living, breathing piece of art. Everything he does is crazy, makes no sense, pure genius, or somewhere in the middle.
He said that?
He said that about you, man. Yeah. You're a living, breathing piece of art.
That's really how I feel about him too. I usually love him so much. It's crazy. Like I have never. I really thought about it today because I read Desiree's. She wrote like that review on the new Think Tank movie. I don't know if you guys read that, but
oh, I haven't. The weather outside's weather is weather.
Yeah.
I haven't read her review yet, but I want to see that movie.
Nice.
It's
so good. It made me seriously want to like cry almost. It was like so beautiful, and I just made. I have like I feel like I've like for the first time realized like what that means to have like a hole in your heart for like something, and like I really do have like a hole in my heart for like just like all my friends and the like Think Tank and the Pacific Northwest. Like I miss that so much. Like I don't know. But yeah, Burger rules. Like I miss him.
Just the fact that you would, in casual conversation, say that you love another man is very, like, most guys don't do that. You know, I've only recently, people in my life that aren't, you know, family that I love, I've been telling them I love them. I think that's really, really, really cool and really, really powerful, you know?
Yeah, totally. You gotta just, you know, if it feels right, then you just gotta say it. That's what I think. I don't know.
There was even a time when I had been away from my father from a long time, and I struggled with like, oh, this dude I've been talking to on the phone for 8-9 years. Do I tell him I love him, or is that weird? You know, that's how like separated from that connection I had become at one point. But it's power. It strikes to what you said exactly. I mean, it pulls at your heartstrings when you have that sort of relationship with somebody.
Yeah, totally. And it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how powerful it can be. Like, because I don't even see Jesse. Like, I rarely, you know, like I rarely see him. Like, probably once every couple of years. Like, I mean, obviously, like 6 years ago, I saw him like all the time. But like, you know, nowadays, since I'm like living in French Canada, I don't see any of my friends. But yeah, man, I don't see him often. But it like doesn't fade, and like. Cool thing. Human relationships are so cool. They're like so fast.
So you start
I that sometimes because I lock myself away in my room trying to like, I don't know, trying to come up with something new on my guitar or something. I don't know. And I forget that it's really only to like turn on the minds of my friends. Like that's the only reason I ever want to make anything, like make any sort of art or film, video part or anything, just to like excite my friends and be part of something, you know.
I think that's an Alaskan trait. We've talked with several other Alaskans on the podcast, and there seems to be this reoccurring theme of having alone time for introspection.
Yeah, I think it's something that you just take for granted up in Alaska, like, because it's just so easy, and it's just, I think you could grow up, especially I'm like, you know, if you're from like a small place too, it's like, and there's all these mountains around, there's all these like, and it's like also accessible, like there's tons of mountains, and you can go up there, and there's all these meadows and blueberries and stuff, and you just get to you just end up spending a lot of time alone, like you just hang out alone all the time, like, a lot of the time, and yeah, so I think that is a pretty Alaskan thing for sure.
So you've made your first turns on a snowboard. When did you decide, like, am I going to go up and hike the highest mountain around here, or am I going to like jump off of this thing and land on that thing? How did you kind of like start to, as I think you would say, you know, determine the way you were going to artfully ride your snowboard?
I think it wasn't super conscious. I think I just started snowboarding every winter, and then I was really super obsessed with it, like right off the bat, like, and I just wanted to get real good, and I would just go to this like my local resort all the time, and it was just this place called Hilltop, and I would snowboard there like every day from like opening to close, and it was funny because I don't know what I was doing because there was no park, there was no rails, it's just a little hill, and there's like nothing really to do, but I would just kind of like there's little bumps and like weird little woods runs and stuff, and I would just kind of like snowboard there like 10 hours a day, like I don't know what, but so I just kept going, and I kept going, and then eventually I don't know how I got so into like rails and stuff, but
that sounds very similar to the resort that I grew up. I wouldn't even call it a resort, a hill that I grew up riding. You get to know the mountain intimately because there's like, in my case, like 7 trails. And then you know what's around every little tree. You know that there's probably going to be a little bump over here and a hidden little hip over here. And, so you start to create and have fun, even though there's no park, but just out of knowing the mountain that well.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I guess at first too, it's like so hard to do anything. Like you try to like you're so happy if you do like a little 360 off a little bump. So like I guess it's all you need at the beginning too. Like you don't need much.
Did you have kind of a group to ride with? Was Bertner in your posse up there?
Like Bertner was like already kind of like going down to like Washington a bunch and stuff. And he would always like be around for like Borderline camp, and he would come back and work in the summers at Borderline sometimes. But like during the winter, I would just kind of like snowboard, yeah, with like just a couple of my like friends that I grew up with, just like from around my house.
Gotcha. And for me, that was part of, what helped any sort of freestyle progression would be like, oh, Andy learned a switch 360. Like I have to learn that, and I've got to like one up him somehow. Yeah,
exactly. That's for sure. Yeah, just try to outdo your friends. And
so where was like, I kind of wonder where you made the step into maybe becoming like a professional snowboarder. Did you ever do any contests, or were you like, okay, you started filming or shooting photos, or what path did you start taking initially to make those steps?
Well, I think it was just all, Jesse would make these movies every year, like the Borderline movies. And I was just like really obsessed with being in those. So I would just like kept trying to get good enough where I could like film something good enough to like be in Jesse's movie. And, it was just kind of like in my head from the beginning that if you can do something cool, then you're going to film it, and then it's going to be in a movie, because we had that outlet, like, because of Jesse and Jason Borgsted's movie. And so it was just kind of like the better I got, like the more I filmed, and then eventually, I don't know about like, I didn't really like take any steps to like try to become a professional snowboarder or anything. I just kind of like, I mean, of course, I like really wanted to be a professional snowboarder, but I'm like a terrible business person. Like I can never really make any like power moves to make it happen. So I just kind of filmed stuff, and I was really I just focused on like the beauty and the power of like snowboard videos, like how wonderful they can be. And I think, like the idea of doing it for money and stuff was kind of secondary. I just was like so focused on like, if I could film something like as cool as what like all these guys that I love and respect are filming, then I'll be so happy. Like I always, that was like really what was driving me, just to try to accomplish something on the level of like, I don't know, like all those awesome snowboarders that it was like, I thought it was such a good time for snowboarding when I was like, I mean, it's still a good time, but it's like around that time, like there was so much cool creative stuff going on, like robot food and I don't know, like burning bridges and all that cool stuff. And I was like such an inspiring time to try to do something like new and different on your snowboard.
You said, it would make me really happy to be in that video. Was there one piece of footage or one video part that was like the pinnacle of that? Because it's a repeating process, right? The first time was probably, oh, wow, I broke through. I'm seeing myself on the big screen. But then it's also like, oh, I've got to do it again. Yeah.
You mean like the first time I filmed something and I was really like proud of it, or
yeah. Is there one piece of, I guess, snowboarding footage that you've produced, or one trick even that is the pinnacle and attached to your happiness in any way? Because to me, to AJ's point earlier, you strike me as a person that's happy whether that footage goes up or not.
Yeah. I know I seem really easygoing, but I really am like and a lot of people like always pick me for that, but I'm really like actually the super like driven, hyper obsessed, like kind of stressed out guy. And like I'm like so, but I really am just obsessed with trying to realize ideas, and to this day, like that's what I'm always trying to do. So, and I think as far as like one piece of footage or one trick, I think like I'm always I think there's something hard to describe about a good video part. It's hard to say what's good about it. You can't. I feel like it's hard to separate it into pieces and say what's good about it. It's always like the whole thing. I think I'm not sure, but it's like, obviously the song and the person and the tricks and everything coming together. But I really look at it as like a segment, as like a video part, as like the piece of like the fully realized like piece of art.
I can see that as like a whole, like Posy seems like it fits this whole.
It flows.
It's not just like this segmented thing. The whole thing flows, and it's very dreamy, and it kind of like touches on these it explores different ideas and places, but it doesn't feel like it leaves a core value to the whole thing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. We tried to make it somewhat like that. I feel like I didn't really fully like realize my vision, like with Potsy, like, because I had this grand vision, and I think it would have been so good, and so I'm like kind of I am proud of it, but I just am like kind of a little bit like regretful that I didn't fully realize it, because what I was trying to do was I was living out in the woods when I started filming it, and I was like making all this papier-mâché down in my basement, and I really wanted to like, decorate like everywhere I went with like just like completely like sensory overload amount of like patterns and papier-mâché, and also I wanted to like interact with it and just kind of like, I wanted to make like all kinds of stuff, and I just couldn't like fully get it together. I don't know. It kind of turned out a little scattered, but it is like, I think it's a cool movie. I don't know.
Nate watched it recently and said this made him want to go snowboard.
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you liked it. I'm trying.
Well, do you think about, some of your parts and how they've impacted other people, or how people might perceive you, like other pro snowboarders? Is that ever into your mind, like what they might think over the years as a collective,
Yeah, man. Like, I've even had times when I'm like, I felt like, I don't know, like I just wished I had a little bit more success, because like I'm like, I kind of had trouble, like at least like sponsor wise, like success, because I'm proud of what I like was lucky enough to like be part of with Bertner and like Justin with Videograss and stuff, but like I never really like had enough, like I never really made it to the point where I could like, I don't know, do what I want to do. Like I never really got to the point where I could really realize what I would think would be like a really truly like impactful video part. I mean, besides like maybe Patrick Patterns, just because I got so lucky and I was with Jesse and everything just kind of came together, and that's the one I'm most proud of. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I wish I just was like included a little bit more in the. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm fine with like my like outsider status, and I'm happy with it. But it's just sometimes I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but sometimes I wish I was a little bit more in the mix. But I think it was my own fault too. Like I really like isolate myself, and I didn't really like ever. I don't know. I don't know how to like go and get sponsors, and I don't know.
I think that's I think that's something a lot of creative people struggle with. Like obviously you've had Patrick Patterns for me. That was amazing. That was mind-blowing. That was life-changing for me to watch. And I go back and watch that, and I'm like, oh, man, like everything about it, it was the tricks you were doing, like what you were wearing. I think you introduced me to Ween. I think that was like the first time I was like, and I was hyped on Ween. And then I met other people that liked them. I was like, oh, this is like, I remember when one of their albums came out, like A Friend's a Friend, that song. and I would sing that all the time, and just feel happy when I sang it. It just like, it went beyond that. It was funny. I was talking with a friend, my friend Patrick Mitchell, about getting to talk to you today. And he wanted me to tell you your song by Blind Pilot and Cool Story, One Red Thread. He would listen to that song to remember how he felt watching your part.
Oh,
and he moved to LA, and when he was in LA, he went to see that band because of how he felt when he watched your part, and just to remember that again.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it was like so influential, and it was like, this is insane. This is like, I wish there was more of this, but I'm kind of glad maybe that, I wouldn't appreciate it as much,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's nice with, and it's crazy how powerful soundtracks are with all films, but with snowboarding film too. Like, I think it's so wonderful. Like, I was just reading this thing on Pitchfork, and they were talking about that, how it was, Pitchfork, like the music blog,
Chicago based, I think. Like,
yeah.
Or they're somewhere in the Midwest, I think.
Yeah, I think they're from Chicago. But I just saw like one thing on there, and it was like the top 10 best skateboard soundtracks. And they just had like a feature on it, and they were talking about how how you go back and you watch the skateboarding, but you also go back and listen to the song over and over again, and it creates such like creates such like a feel, and you can like really tie memories. I'm the same way. Like when I listen to like some bands and stuff. I mean, I think like every snowboard and skateboarder you can't listen to like a song and really just think about the song if it's been like a really good part too. You got to think about that part, and
My friend back in the early 90s put his boombox up next to the television speaker to record the whole Useless Wooden Toys New Deal video. And so there's like audio, there's like Ed Templeton saying weird stuff, but then he put that on a tape, and that's what he would listen to in the car all the time. And in his mind, he would know like what trick. I mean, he knew the whole thing by heart. And it was just, if he heard that song anywhere else without like the skate noises in it, it sounded wrong to him. He was like, no, there needs to be like a little like tail pop sound here and a grind and a slide in there.
Yeah, that's so rad. It's true, man. There should be like a genre in music, like with like skate noises and snowboard noises. Surprised that hasn't come up yet.
I'm sure. I wonder if people have sampled like the sound of an ollie, like the pop of an ollie. Some DJ has to have been sampling that and use that as like a snare.
I'm sure.
Or maybe
I guess there's like that Lupe Fiasco song where it's like
kick push.
Maybe you could do that, Gus, because you're a musician and you do music for you did music for Posy, right?
Yeah. I made all those like with this little synthesizer I have, and
maybe you could that could be your thing, like skate noises and snow, like the sound of or snow noises or whatever, like shredding. That could be pretty heavy.
How did music come into your life? I mean, harmonica? Oh, you have several instruments, right?
Yeah, like I just kind of just try to like play whatever I need to play to like kind of like put together like my ideas into songs. So I kind of like, I don't know, I just play like guitars and like kind of like synthesizers, and I can play harmonica a little bit, but I don't usually, but I can.
You say it casually, but I can't just go pick up a guitar or a synthesizer or any of those things and make anything that anyone would want to hear. How did you learn? Was it formal, or did you just kind of start playing on your own?
Well, I really started playing. I got really interested in guitar like when I was around I started playing when I was 17. And then I kind of always had one with me, but I just like would pick it up every once in a while. And then like when I turned like 19 or 20, I got like super interested in it, and it is like kind of like the same. I kind of like I have a similar relationship to it as I did with snowboarding. Like it's kind of like the next obsession for me. Like I can't stop like doing it all the time. I'm like spend like 15 hours a day in my room, like with my hands aching and stuff, just trying so hard to make something good, but it's so hard, it's so hard to actually put something together that is like, original and beautiful. But I'm trying. I don't know, maybe one day.
You said when you started that you always had the guitar around. Was that at all to get girls? And I say that because I have a friend, and I'll call him out right now, Ricky Jones, who has a guitar in his house that was all about getting girls. He's like, oh, girls. He has like 4 chords. He has like the beginning of a song, and that's it. He's like, girls love guitar, man. You just got to be able to do this little bit.
Louis.
I don't even know what it is.
That what he knows? I'm like, yeah, babe, I'm in a band.
Was it just pure love for music and wanting to learn guitar, or was there like, oh, this thing's cool?
I want to get laid.
Girls see it, yeah, and they might want to talk to me.
I mean, I'm a human being, so I think everything I do is in some way influenced by like in one way or another, me trying to be cool, and like I was saying earlier, like trying to excite other people, and like it definitely, I don't know, I mean, definitely didn't look at it as like a super, like something that would like really attract girls, and I was just so nervous around girls that I like couldn't even like imagine like one liking me, and I still don't understand how one can. But I don't know. So I really didn't think, like, I thought about girls a lot, but I didn't ever make any efforts or moves to like try to attract them in any sort of meaningful way. Like I just kind of accepted it as a lost cause. So music was pretty pure. I think it was just kind of like, it was. I think it just seemed like a big playground. Like you could. It's just like there's so much room to like mess around, and I don't know. It's always the ideas. That's what excites me. I'm excited by ideas, I guess.
Right, and then like you said before, like when you can make that idea into a reality, that's like closing the loop.
Oh yeah, and that's like the most beautiful thing when it happens. But it's like even the moment when you even just like get a glimpse at like the possibilities, like the infinite world of possibilities, it kind of gives you that little feeling, and you're like, wow, like it's so endless, and that's a beautiful feeling. But then if you could like pluck something out of that universe and then actually like make it come full circle, like you said, that's also a beautiful thing.
My spine's tingling just hearing you say that and hearing your excitement around the creative process.
Oh, yeah, it's so fun. It's the best, man. I think to me it's like something just to grab onto and like just hold tight, because the world's kind of chaotic and crazy. So it's nice to have something just to like, that is that wonderful and truly pure and never let you down. Just nice to have that in your life, I think.
I feel like that's the reason, or an important reason to be alive, is to experience that and, express yourself. And for me, it's always like snowboarding. I've always been like, it's tough to call a sport because I feel like this isn't like basketball. This is way more than that. This is really creative. It's an art. It's like being a performance artist.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely can be. I think it's like it can be a sport too. I think it depends.
Yeah, it can be a lot of. Yeah, I agree with that. It can be a lot of things, but I was always
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's like it's like just one of those human things to classify it, but it doesn't really. If you think about it, really, like sport is such like a big blanket term, because like it really doesn't have much to do with like like all the sports, like the mainstream ones. Like it's like kind of just like. It's kind of like meaningless and like so beautiful at the same time. It's like there's no goal really, not really anyway. Besides like I think like beauty, for lack of a better word. So I think that makes it art more than a sport, because if your intention is to create beauty, then I think that to me defines would make it more of an art form. And at least filming video parts and stuff, I think like contests like it's like judged, and there's like a lot more like it's a little bit more classifiable, I think, in a way. But I don't know, even that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's still, even the contests are still kind of abstract.
Totally. It's like how are you even judging this? Like, because style is so like is such a abstract thing. And yeah,
I think I was you've been paying attention to surfing a lot more this year and watching Chopu recently. and Kelly Slater was just on fire. I don't know if you follow surfing, but like, and I was explaining that to someone that kind of knows surfing, and they were like, well, how do they get points in surfing? Like, is it the longest, like what constitutes scoring a 10? And I was like, it's like how he wrote it, how he looked riding it.
Yeah.
How he looked doing it. And that's an abstract idea, is like how he looked. So, and trying to break that down. It's not like I put the ball over this line this many times, and I got this many points. It's way more of a intangible idea.
And surfing judging is funny too, because the surfers will try and sell it to the judges a little bit, just in the way, just in the subtleties. And there's this thing called a claim, but it can work for you or against you, because if you try to sell it on something that wasn't legitimate, they'll like, and they'll talk about this too on the panel. They'll like be like, no, that wasn't legit. They're going to kind of dock you for doing that.
Like, it can't be too contrived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you can, that's the death of style, I think, if contrivance,
The death of cool, the death of style.
So at some point, this guitar trick worked, and you met a girl who's now your wife. How did you meet her?
How do you do that? Because I'm trying to figure that out. And if you give me a step-by-step, I keep trying Tinder and Craigslist and Bumble, and it doesn't seem to work.
Man, I don't know. Man, honestly, I have no idea. Like, it's great. I don't know, but she's so cool. Like, I think come to Quebec. I think that's the secret. They're so awesome and wonderful here. Like, there's really, really amazing girls. I don't know. I think, and I don't. I mean, this is really me. Like, I'm a fish out of water when it comes to like talking about girls.
Do I need to parlay français a little bit better than I?
No, man. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. You could like just pick up a couple words if you want to like. But yeah, no, you don't have to. Especially Montreal, man. Montreal is like totally bilingual. Like, everyone speaks both.
Oh, I heard those are dope. I really want to go there. I heard they're dope. Maybe I should just drive there now.
You should, man. It's not even far. You should totally come up. You can stay at my house if you want. You guys
I could stay at your house if I came to Quebec.
You guys are totally welcome.
You don't even know me, Gus. I could stay at your house.
I already like you guys so much.
Oh, well, thank you.
We're on the way.
Maybe I'll come there. I actually live in California, but I'm visiting the East Coast.
Oh, cool.
But maybe I'll take you up on that. I'll hit you up.
So along the way, when we're heading up there, we're going to be camping and staying in my truck, which I've slowly over time been like building into an adventure mobile that could go on like a week or month long adventure and just kind of like live out of it.
Yeah.
You did that for a while. Could you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah. It was so fun, man. I bought a van. I had two vans, actually. I bought one van, and I bought it in Alaska, and I shipped it down on a ferry. And when I moved, was that when I? No, okay. So that was like right after I moved out of Bertner's house, and then I started. Yeah, I when I was like 18, I moved into Bertner's house, and then after I got done living there, I bought a van, and then I just kind of lived in that for like, I think like off and on for at least 3 or 4 years. I mean, pretty much, actually not even off and on, pretty much just like the whole time for 3 or 4 years. And it was cool. It was like, I actually always think about doing it still, because like I don't know, I really love it. Like I think it's so fun to travel around all the time. I think I'm not snowboarding like as hard as I was, because I don't know. I am snowboarding, but I'm really like a lot more stationary, and so I'm not traveling as much, and it's man, it's crazy. It's been like snowboarding. Like, one of the most beautiful parts about the lifestyle is like the traveling all the time, and I miss it so bad. And I always think about getting a van again, because it was so fun, man. It's like you feel so free, and you can just drive that thing around. And like, I had Volkswagens, and they're like so well made, and I don't know, I mean, like the arrangements, like you really do feel like you're in your like little room after a while. Like, you feel like you got everything you need, and like nothing you don't, and you can go anywhere you want to go, and it's freedom. You feel really free. I think it's such a beautiful way to live.
Did you ever have like a knock on your window at like 1 at night and someone telling you to move along?
Man, like, don't think so, man. But like every once in a while, that's one of the things that kind of like is a little stressful now I'm thinking about it. Like, you wake up in the middle of the night, oftentimes like because I park in like neighborhoods a lot. Like, and sometimes you're just next to like some garbage cans or something, and then like the garbage truck shows up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And you just wake up, all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, like just the crazy, like dystopic, like I don't know, like some sort of creature like making the crazy noise at 5 o'clock in the morning, and like they don't think they're like bothering anybody because like you're not really, they don't know that you're sleeping like in your van, so they're just kind of going off. And so sometimes you get rude awakenings for sure, but it's worth it.
The other question people always have is like, what about going to the bathroom? Like, how do you handle both of those functions?
Yeah, that one. You just gotta be like pretty, like, you definitely get some weird looks sometimes because like I usually just wake up like pretty early and like brush my teeth and like kind of open my door and just gotta pee. I don't know.
Just in the street?
Like, yeah, just in the street.
You don't have any piss jugs?
I mean, sometimes I would pee in some piss jugs.
Way of the road there, bud.
I know somebody that like they had like a tube that like they cut a hole in their floor and it was like a funnel.
Like catheter or no,
through the van.
Through the van.
Yeah. Like they would pee like into the tube and it would go out the bottom.
So
it reminds me of have you seen the movie Lady in the Van? It's like
no.
It's a British film. It's about this lady that had like this yellow van and she like lived on the street and then she ended up parking at this guy's house who's like a playwright. But she just became a staple in the neighborhood. She was a little bit, eccentric and but it reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You definitely get some weird looks sometimes, and you're definitely kind of like a bum. It's not that bad though. Like I remember one time I was like I didn't have any place to stay, and I was sleeping in my brother's like Jetta for a while, and that was really bad. Like, because sleeping in the van, like you can like close the curtains, you can like wake up and start it and drive to like a cafe, and like carry on with your life.
Right,
and then, but like I was living in the Jetta, like I was sleeping with like half my I like would put down the back seat and like I would put my feet in the trunk and I would like lean on the thing and there was no curtains or anything, so like obviously I'm just sleeping in my car before walking by and stuff, and like it's like that's like you definitely feel like pretty depressed when you're living like that. But there's no like it's not like a sad state of existence living in a van. It's like
I aspire to it, actually.
Yeah, it rules. It's the best.
So
was this Max's Jetta?
No, it was my brother's Jetta.
Oh, okay. Do you have a brother named Max? Is there a difference?
Oh yeah, my little brother. I do have a little brother named Max. I have a big brother named Woody. It was my big brothers.
Okay. We'll get into your brothers here in 1 second, but I have one more question for you, or actually an anecdote about how you've just helped me. Because 2 weekends ago, I was on just an overnight mission in the truck, camping in the back, and just slowly kind of building this thing up. And I've got like a solar panel on the way. It's not in yet, but so I'm at a surf spot, and at about 12:30 at night, I get a knock on the window, and it's the ranger. We're actually in a national park, and he's like, "Well, you can't be here, man." And the irony of it, and part of the reason why I was asking about the bathroom and stuff is because he was actually standing right where I had peed about 5 minutes earlier. He was standing in my pee as he was telling me that I couldn't be here. Yeah, well,
another man stood in my pee.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, really? Why not? I've stayed here before, and I have done it a couple other times. And he goes, well, it's really a resources issue. He's like, there's not enough bathrooms for everyone. And I'm just like laughing to myself because he's standing in my pee as he's telling me there's not enough bathrooms.
You should bring a piss jug. I got it covered and showed the piss jug.
But my takeaway is that I really shouldn't park there. I should go like a few miles away into a neighborhood where nobody's going to bother you, and then just drive to the surf spot in the morning.
Yeah, neighborhoods are totally cool, man. Like I never had any trouble, especially like you got a truck, and that's cool too because like a lot of people sleep in their vans and they pop up the top, and I would always sleep downstairs. If you sleep down in the bottom, then no one, because if the pop top's up, if the top is popped, then everybody knows you're sleeping in there.
Yeah, dead giveaway. Yeah, I think my giveaway was I was watching Netflix on my iPad, and there was probably just enough, I don't have the blackout curtains yet. I'm going to do that next. But there was probably just enough like light coming off that it attracted him over to me, because I wasn't the only car in the parking lot.
Was this Netflix and chill for one?
Yes. One in a surfboard.
Focus on the chill.
But tell us about your brothers and what role they've played in your life.
Like my big brother, he kind of was like introduced me to skateboarding and snowboarding, like everything like I've come to love, and kind of like towed me along and showed me cool stuff.
But he didn't tell you not to get a Zorlak board?
No, he didn't know that. He didn't know. He was just like, I don't know. We were just like two village kids, like not knowing what we were doing in the big city, like being dorks, like trying to fit in, not be villagers.
Don't let them know. Don't show it that you're a villager. We're in the city now. Keep your head down.
Know. They always know.
They know. Look at those villager kids, honey. Savages.
Yeah, but then my little brother is like he has like autism, and he's like so cool. He's like just like a really weird little guy. He's like 18 or no, never mind. He's 20 now. Yeah, he's so cool. Like his whole life revolves around. Actually, I can relate to him so much, like to the point where I'm like always thinking of like, man, like I can almost relate to like my little autistic brother more than anybody else I know. Like I feel like we like think a lot alike, and he just has constant obsessions, just like me too. Like his obsessions are usually like based around like superheroes though. Like he's like constantly wanting to disguise himself like in like superhero outfits. It's so awesome. He's like, I don't know. He's pretty incredible.
Did you go with him to Disneyland?
Man, I have been there with him before, and if you like, apparently, if you have autism, they let you skip all the lines and like +4. So, dude, like you can go. I go to Disneyland with Max, and like it's like going to like your private Disneyland. Like you could just like I like loop rides and stuff. Like
what?
Yeah, dude, it's incredible. It's like the best thing. It's the best thing ever, seriously.
I just went to Disneyland last week for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Isn't it awesome?
It's so I want to live there.
Oh man, me too. It's so cool because all the rides like aren't. It's like they're all like pieces of like history. They're all like old and cool. Like
yeah,
I don't know, Pirates of the Caribbean, like that. It's an experience. It's so cool, you know.
It's definitely, you feel like you're in a different world, you know, like it's so like a well-oiled machine that everything just flows really well. So the things don't stand out. I'm just like, oh my God, I was there for like 13 hours. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah, it's always like that. You know, it's so incredible. It's so cool.
So you've had a couple different facial hair styles. I'll work on speaking over the years. Do you have a mustache right now?
No, man, I'm like totally clean shaven, you know? Like, I don't know why I've been going with that style lately. I'm not sure why. I guess I'm really afraid to like, cause like, I don't know, there's that whole like short beard thing going on, and it can be fine. And I know like you have to like comb it and stuff to really make yourself like look like one of the people that I'm afraid that I look like when I have a beard. Like, you know, like the people that are too well groomed.
Yeah.
And I've never met you guys, but I don't know. I hope you guys aren't too well groomed.
Well, I asked that selfishly because I'm working on my first mustache in my life right now.
That's your first one?
Yeah, for like any period of time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My first time I ever grew like a little bit. I use like I don't know what I use, shoe polish or just for men. No, I use just for men, and I dyed it black, and it makes it like twice as like much of a mustache. It's incredible.
I might have to get on that. I want. Someone said I looked like I'm working on my Tom Selleck right now. That was like an unsolicited comment that I got a couple days ago. I was stoked.
Yes, that's good. They've taken notice. That's the first.
I think it's influenced by Danny McBride. I feel like
it could be.
Could be a little bit. That's what I can see.
So we have some listener questions teed up. Every time we do an episode, we kind of put it out to the internet, and AJ is going to jump into some of those.
Yeah. So Jeremy Barker asked, have you and Zach Marvin ever jammed? And if not, collab on some music. I think that's a demand.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I played with Zach before. Like, I really like Zach. I, I played with him, but it's been like a lot of years. No, man, actually, no, it hasn't. It's only been like 2 years. Like when I was in Minneapolis. Yeah, so I have played with him, but I don't know. Man, I'd love to do something with Zach. I love Minneapolis so much. It's like seriously like home away from home for me. Like I think about moving there sometimes because I think it's so cool. But maybe one day I'll move to Minneapolis and me and Zach we'll play some music together.
Do you think your wife would be down to live there, or do you have to?
Yes, she likes it too, man. I just think Minneapolis is man. I feel like this. I mean, not just the snowboard scene too. Just like the whole city is so cool, but the snowboard scene is so cool too. Like kids are so. I don't know, man. Just really like that place. Plus, I love the replacements and Prince and
Oh yeah,
especially the replacements. But
I heard it's a really friendly. It's like one of the top 10 best bike friendly cities in America.
yeah, man, it is. It's so cool, man. It's like it's really cool because it has like that awesome like that wave that's going on where like that like Portland, Oregon thing going on, but like it also has a lot like it's not just that, like it has like a little bit more of like a blue collar side to it too, which is like kind of refreshing for me because I'm from such like a blue collar place and I get a little like nervous if I'm too like deeply ensconced in that whole like I don't know.
Yeah,
I got to meet some people that are like gonna like harass me a little bit, or I don't feel like.
There's something about like the Midwest that is a little bit like I always like people a little more conservative, and kind of a little bit more friendly, I think.
Yeah.
To people and a little bit like I don't know, like things might shock them a little more because they're a little bit nicer, they're not like it doesn't feel seedy. Like I've been places that feel really seedy, like I live in Long Beach, like LA, and LA there's like a seedy vibe to it, and then people in the Midwest are a little more welcoming and they're not like trying to get into bad things, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. It's like a fun. It's like they're like fun loving, but they're like they're not. There's like I don't know. They're really humble and like down to earth too. It's like just a cool.
I think it's space. I've only really been to Minneapolis downtown once, and it was in the winter, and I just remember, wow, there's big buildings here like skyscrapers. But they're not. I didn't feel like it was coming down on me. Like in New York, I feel like I'm just like this little tiny ant, and these buildings are just folding in on you. But like you said, it was bike friendly because they built it with space down there. It didn't feel, walking around downtown, I was like, where is everybody? There were people around, but the sidewalk wasn't packed.
Not like a wave of humanity. At all times. Like
I think having that space can really affect your psyche and demeanor on a mass level.
Yeah, you're right, man. And that's really true that it like feels like there's like a certain kind of like, you're right. I don't know. I remember walking around Minneapolis like a couple winters ago. I spent the winter in Minneapolis like a couple winters ago, and it was like so like, it's like a strange like kind of peaceful feeling that comes from walking around Minneapolis in the winter. Especially that winter, it was like the polar vortex, and it was like -60. So I don't think it's outside really.
Hell no. I think the X Games are coming there next year, so if you move there, maybe you can. I think the summer X Games are coming, so you have that to look forward to. Checking out the hot X Games action. They got video games in the X Games now. They got Call of Duty, so that'd be go check that out. Yeah.
What?
You get a medal for Call of Duty. Maybe you can get Pokemon Go. Maybe that'll be in the X Games.
Dude, that's pretty cool, man. That's crazy. That's a crazy world.
Yeah. Jeremy had another question, and I'm going to try to like paraphrase this, but he basically wanted to know what it was like to film with the Think Tank Videographs guys and having that sort of atmosphere of like creativity.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. Like they were a lot different. Like Think Tank. Think Tank is so hard for me to even like describe because Bertner is so hard to describe. Like when you're like around him and like just how he can they excite you like so much, and how like pure of heart he is. And then also like there was think it was just like all kinds of energetic people. Like Gary Milton was like filming with us back then too, like around the beginning, and he was like, I don't know, just tons of like people with tons of energy that are like, I don't know, and it has like a really cool Northwestern energetic, like humble vibe, you know, and that was really cool. Like it really like think like you would like cruise around and like anything you want to do, like, and it's, I guess it's pretty obvious. Like anything you want to do, you're like, hey, look at this thing. And we like stop the car. Like if you're driving around a town, you stop the car and you get out and you like, even if it's like just like the weirdest little thing, like everybody's like into it, and it doesn't matter. Like, you know, there's not a lot of searching. It's like a lot of snowboarding, like on anything you come across, and just sessioning and like really, yeah, like just lots of boarding on little weird things that you come across. And Videographs was more like searching for, like, you spent a lot more time in the car because it was a lot more like searching for like more like perfect kind of spots, like, and which like, and like they both had their good and bad sides, because sometimes like taking that time to like search out that perfect spot, like you can really do cool stuff when you find it. But the like I really like that whole like snowboarding all the time on like whatever you came across too, because it really reminded me of like a lot more like skateboarding around a city, and you just come across things and you just kind of do them as you come across them, and it felt a little more organic in that way. But Videographs is really cool too, man. They had like, it was, Justin is just so cool too. He's like such an amazing person, and I don't know, man. They're a lot different, but they're both really cool. I feel like I got pretty lucky filming for both of those guys. Like they both helped me out so much, and I don't know.
So you could start a film company that just calls you when that perfect spot is ready, so you don't have to do the car ride. She's like, yo, we got the spot. It's all shoveled. It's ready. Just show up here. I'm going to drop a pin. Be here in 30 minutes.
I feel like that's what interns should do. Like, Videographs and Think Tank should have these interns and be scouting and be like, all right, the interns got it. Let's go there.
Dude, if snowboarding was truly like, if it was like truly big time, that's so how it would be. It'd be so funny.
That's hard though, because that's somebody else judging for you, kind of like, you could get there and be like, I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah,
that
looks, it could be a waste of time.
But then you're just like, if you're like all big time, you're just like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, find something else.
I'm too good for this. I've heard that from like there's pro snowboarders. Like, this is not what I do, or something like. Then why are you here?
But I always thought of that, man. There's like, I feel like it'd be so rad to be like a snowboard consultant. Like, you like, I feel like I'd be so good at that. Like I can just be like, hey man, found all these spots. Like maybe you want to snowboard on them, and then like people just pay you for like 10 spots, like by the spot or something.
That could be. I feel like that happens. I mean, you would know more than I would, but that just happens in general. Like, it'd be like, oh, I have a friend that could show you around. And then the friend would show you like people around the city if they've never been there. But what if that was like a service you rented out, you know, and then they pick you up from the airport. They're like a driver, you know, and they pick you up, and then like, yeah, I'll show you. I got it all mapped out. And what are you looking for?
Like a backcountry guide, but like a city
guide. And he knows where the bagel spot's at, the coffee, like he's got it all lined up.
Dude, if nothing more, this is an amazing plot for a video. A video / movie.
We could go viral.
It's like a little bit movie. You get the person's backstory too. You know, there's some non-snowboarding stuff going on, and then there's like, you're just holding the sign at the airport.
Airport. Just ready to show up. Like, all right, let's get to work.
But the only problem is, man, there's always like and I've been this kid. Like, there's always like a 17-year-old kid, like, so more than willing to like you know, tell any crew that comes to town, like every single spot that's ever been hit, you know, like, you know what I mean, like.
But what if they coordinated like renting out spots, so you don't show up to a spot and another film crew's there, and they like talk to all the film crews in town, like, all right, we got it from 1 to 4, we got to be wrapped up, I got and talks to local like authorities and stuff. Basically a mob boss or like a mafia member who can show you around.
Man, I feel like it was like that in Salt Lake City sometimes. Like, I remember, like people would be like showing up at a spot and like running to like claim it and stuff. And I was so
what?
I'm from like Anchorage, like, and I think that was always refreshing too, like going for Think Tank too, because like we never felt like we were part of like any sort of like rat race. Like we were all no one's gonna snowboard on this curve in this parking lot. So.
Well, Dan,
I want that cone.
Dan Breezy's here, but he's actually just doing stuff over our spot, so we're cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like we didn't have to worry about like didn't have to worry about competing with them. Bertner actually drew a spiral. Like I can't remember what those spirals are called, but when you start at a point and then you just there's like a certain name for it. But I feel like we all drew them like in high school when you're like just like bored. But any like we're talking about like what you got to do is like everybody's going along on this spiral. They're following this winding spiral, and that's how things move forward. And all you got to if you look at the two lines, they're only like this short distance from each other, and all you got to do is just take one little step off to the side, and then you're already like, way ahead. You already skipped.
You skipped, yeah.
Third of the spiral, So that was like his metaphor for.
Like in the airport when you just have the line, and they have got all the little straps forming the line, and somebody goes, and it's empty. And somebody goes, this is stupid. I'm not going to walk zigzag back and forth. Yeah. And they just lift up the straps and walk right through. And you kind of look at them like, I don't know if you're a jerk or if you're really smart. Are you breaking the rules? Like, that can be done?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just one little step off to the side, and you could be somewhere strange and uncharted, I suppose.
I like that. I like being able to venture out. You never know where it's going to lead. If you have it too planned out, it can be like kind of boring. But if you maybe you want to step out sometimes.
Yeah, it's a scary thing because you want you're kind of. I feel like at least my mind seeks sort of guarantees. Like, okay, if I stay on this, if I just work hard, and stay on this road I'm on, I'll eventually get somewhere because it's a straight road, in this, probably, I guess in the same way, if you follow the spiral, just keep working hard, and you stay on that thing, you're gonna get somewhere. But if you step off to the side, you might just get totally lost, but you also might end up way ahead. I guess any other shortcut. It's there's some risk involved, but it's also always more exciting, and you don't have to feel like you're in direct competition with anybody. You just kind of get to just play around in your own little playground.
Well, there's no guarantee that the straight road, and we're assuming the straight road is what most people take. That's most people's path in life is okay, I can see getting this 9-to-5 job. That's what most people do. And each week I'll get paid X amount. And this is just the straight road, but that isn't even guaranteed to work out. So why not? If you can see another way, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Even if you can't see another way, it's not trying is it's not worth it. You got to try. I mean, I don't know. You got to try to do something new and interesting. I feel like if it's not novel, it's I don't know. It's never as quite as exciting. Like the Beatles, man. They they would, if they just would have kept making I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is a great song. I like that song, but it's they never would have made Sgt. Pepper's. They never, So.
Yeah, Helter Skelter wouldn't have been made.
Yeah, exactly.
They had to transform themselves to.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like we just went really deep, and now we're going to take a turn back to not so deep with another listener question.
Okay.
This could be deep. Let's see, where do I want to go? Let's talk to, Steve Lauder is a snowboarder from the Northeast, I believe. He actually rips really hard. Wanted to know your preference between Richie Jackson and Ali Boulali.
Ooh, man, let's see. I don't know. That's, man, they're both really cool, I think. I mean, I definitely have been blown away by each at separate times in my life. Just Ali Boulala, just how lanky he is and his style and everything. And it was just his whole, like, persona that he presented. That was pretty groundbreaking for me, definitely. But Richie Jackson was really cool too, because he definitely took like a complete departure from like what everybody else is doing. Like, so I thought that was pretty interesting too. So I don't know, man. They're both really cool. It's I don't know what I think they're just both like doing their own thing, and yeah, sad about Ali getting in that motorcycle crash and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen? Did you see that Vice thing about him, or the Epically Later? I think.
No, I didn't see it.
It's pretty sad. I mean, he physically is still not in great shape. Like, couldn't really skateboard. Like, tries to do a kickflip, and it's like he's never stepped on a skateboard before.
It's man, such a shame, man.
Yeah, and his like good friend died. Shane Cross died, and that's like, I think he gets a lot of criticism and hate towards that, and he's like, I'm just as mad. It's my fault. And,
yeah, totally. It's a rough situation. It's terrible.
That's a unique type of grief to have to carry. But luckily for me, the first thing when you said Ali Bilala that pops into my mind is not that. That's floating around in the back of my mind. But the first thing that I see is him just hucking himself down those stairs in the flip video.
Oh, and Leon?
Yeah,
Jaws.
Yeah.
Now the Jaws stairs.
I know. I saw Jaws did it the other day. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was, but I watched a video and I was really, I don't know. It seemed cool. He seemed like he was doing good Ali Bilal in that video. He seemed like he wasn't too down in the dumps or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone were to do it, it's Jaws. I don't know if any other. Jaws is probably not a human being. He's like, I think science should study him and figure out what's going on. If anyone could handle it. That must be. Is there? That must be a weird thing. Like, I read this thing about the Wilshire 15 and how Clint Walker ollied down it and was saving that footage. And then this kid who skates for fucking awesome did it, and then heard that Clint did it and was saving it. He didn't want him to release it, and he was like, "Man, it's kind of like this battle of like." I mean, in that case, they'd already done it, but Ali never did it. Now Jaws is doing it. It's like, well, I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like a weird, what are the rules? If someone goes and kind of does, like if someone were to go out and, start doing a lot of things that you did, or maybe doing things that you tried but didn't do or whatever, would you be like, oh man, that was mine? Why are you taking this from me?
I think that could be like an initial reaction, like, but then like I think as time goes on, like you just are happy to have like influenced anybody with anything you did, because I don't know. I think that's such a like everybody always says like imitation is the highest form of flattery, and it's true. I think it's like such a wonderful thing to like have made someone excited enough to actually like go and physically like try to sort of like recreate an idea or like something that you maybe once tried or did. Like, I mean, that takes a lot of work to do that too, and so I don't know. I think it's cool, man. That's what I feel like most of the time, like people are just like a conglomeration of like all their influences, and usually when they're interesting, it's just because those influences stack up in an interesting way. So everybody's just in a big old, we're just all floating around a big old ocean of influence, I guess. So
I love that.
But then there are the subtle cultural rules, like in a skate park, where say maybe a 38-year-old podcast host is doing a frontside flip over the hip and trying 30 or 40 times and really struggling with it. And a 13, 14-year-old kid comes up and just does it right in his face.
First try, switch.
First try, yeah, exactly.
Has that happened?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
How many other 38-year-old podcast hosts? There are a lot of podcast hosts out there trying to frontside flip. I felt that way. I think I forget what age. Early 20s maybe, where I was like, oh, I'm kind of old now for skating and snowboarding. And there's these kids that are like as good, better, and they're going to only get better.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a hard thing to swallow.
For sure, man. I mean, like, just getting old in general is like can be tough, and especially when your favorite thing to do is like so based on like youthful exuberance, you know. So it can be so hard for people. You can definitely see it like take its toll on people. I think, but I don't know. At least for me, like speaking from like my personal experience, like I like by the time like I'm 29, and by this time, like I've already been so like obsessed with music for so long that like snowboarding kind of like is like almost like a afterthought in my life. Like in some way, you know, like I love it, but I don't necessarily think about snowboarding like every day or maybe even every week, you know, just because I think about music all the time, and I'm kind of like a monomaniac, like one thing at a time. So I don't know. I think if you got something else that isn't based on youth as much, like even though music is in some ways, like something that you can do forever, like something else to hang on to, then I think that helps. Like it can help you, I don't know, transition like out of like that being like the main thing in your life. I don't know. Not that you could always snowboard too, I guess. You just got to do it in different ways. I don't know. Yeah.
You said something a second ago that is interesting to me about humans mostly being kind of this sum of their life experiences. Do you have any belief or theory around, I guess, like spirituality and humanity?
I mean, I don't know. I'm like I just kind of like from the school of thought that I just feel like I just don't know what's going on. I'm real confused.
No, I sorry, I have to interrupt again. I think that's being honest. I think that is just being honest. I think that most people go around taking whatever those experiences are handed down to them and saying, oh, that's it. I'm going to hang on to this belief. But if you really look deep and really ask yourself, I don't know is the answer. I feel.
Yeah, that's how I feel for sure. So it's still, I mean, it's just such a, it's such a complex question. Because I mean, sometimes it's weird. Sometimes you do feel like there's something like, I don't know, like sometimes even just like with like I don't know, sometimes things, it's so hard to say. Who knows, man? Who knows what's going on? It's like such a great mystery, but I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's hard even for me to start thinking about stuff like that. I think that's why I like keep my head down so much and just kind of like focus on my obsessions, because like there's those big questions that are just like too much for my mind to wrap my mind around.
Okay.
Do you believe in aliens?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, it seems like a mathematical impossibility. I don't know if they've come here or not. I don't know if they like visited us, but I think they've got to be out there. I mean, like in some shape or form, seems like.
So to lighten it up again, we'll bounce back to a listener question if we have more.
We have more. Chaz Truslow, the catfish, wanted to know where all your wild gear went.
I don't know. I mean, some of it disintegrated. Some of it I've given away or lost, or I don't know. I mean, I still got some wild gear. I've been kind of like dressing wild lately. I don't know if it's like a midlife crisis. Can you have a midlife crisis in your 20s?
In your 20s. Maybe in snowboarding and skating.
Exactly, man. That's it.
That's end of life crisis at that age.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just it's here and there. I don't know. It didn't end up. I didn't like donate it to like a charity, or it's not like in a museum or anything. It's just floating around. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Yahtzee.
Sorry.
What time is that? You baking something? Is it done? Pull out of the oven?
My wife, man, she's sending me. My wife's awesome artist. Everybody should check her out. Her name's Esther Pret, and she just sent me a piece of art. She works in a studio, and she's like always sending me pictures of her art throughout the day.
You know what's funny is I think right now the graphic on the snowboard I'm riding is from Estia or Esti.
Maybe what
it's a heart man. It's got like glasses and a guy. It's like
Yeah, man, totally. She did. She made, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and it honestly was, I get pretty bummed on snowboard graphics. I think they're like kind of basic, kind of like, they could be more interesting. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that's awesome. That's like so cool. And people, I only got the board. It's this company called Pseudo, and they're from California. And I got the board at the end of the season, and everyone's like, whoa, that's so cool. You know, it looks kind of like this kid named Keenan Crawley. Everyone thought it was Keenan. But it's like such a rad graphic. And I think they only made like 4 or 5 of those boards. So it feels really special to have one of them.
Oh, that's rad. That's rad. You have one. She'll be stoked. I'll tell her.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was rad. I didn't even know she made it. It was just like, oh, this is sick. You know, this is really cool. And then that kid Tyler, who does that company, told me about that. I was like, no way. Like, this is awesome. You know, it feels awesome to have a piece of her art. You know,
Wow.
It's something I'm never going to give away. I'm never giving that board away or like selling it or whatever.
Oh, that's cool, man. She'll be so happy. That's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I really love her art, like all the stuff I've seen. And she films you, or she's like a videographer as well, you know, not just an illustrator.
Yeah, she made like all the her and Jean Bongjong. Sorry, Jean, for your last name. I don't know how to say it. Made all the Peep Show movies, like all the girls movies.
Yeah.
And then she made Posy too. Like, she like filmed the whole thing, and besides the Super 8 is filmed by my friend Alan, and then we edited it together. But she's like the one who knows how to edit. I just kind of like sat there and made suggestions. But yeah, she's pretty much like, that's pretty much like her project.
Does she do stuff with Too Hard, or she's just?
Yeah, she does. Like, she doesn't she does stuff on occasion. Like, mostly she just does like little illustrations for them and stuff. Like, all their like merchandise is like some of their merchandise she did like that is like the things for the paintings for them, and but she doesn't film really often. Sometimes, but Danny always comes and stays with us in Quebec like pretty much every year, and so I don't know. We're always hanging out with Danny, but we don't really. I don't know. I always go out and do stuff with her. But Estee just mostly does art now. She doesn't really do anything in snowboarding.
Were there any other listener questions?
Oh yeah. So Jeff Holt's the athlete. Maybe the best athlete in snowboarding. He said Alon was his question, was just simply Alon. I think he kind of wanted to know where that started, and
like Alon with a question mark.
Not even a question mark, just Alon.
Well, it's
so.
Yeah, they're just like a Slovenian like snowboard company, and like Blaze Rosenthal's like who I've like he like kind of like the first person ever to pay me to snowboard with like M4.
Yeah.
He like put me on the team for that, and then he's kind of just been he's been telling me along like everything he's involved in, like after, so like Artek was like, he was kind of running the team for that, and then Alon, he's running the team for that, so I'm just kind of always like, he's always just putting me on whatever team he's like in charge of, because he's like really, I don't know, Blaze is a really cool guy, and yeah, that's pretty much Alon. They're just I don't know, they're cool. They're like one of the only people that have ever really like supported me, so I got nothing but love for them. They're really, I'm thankful that they've helped me out so much through the years. Else I never would have been able to really like travel around and snowboard probably.
My little Elon anecdote is I was a shop buyer for many years for a snowboard shop, and we'd go to these on snow demos and try different boards, and I tried an Elon, which was, we were a quote unquote core snowboard shop, so some of the other guys were razzing me like, what are you doing over there? That's, we're not going to carry a ski company. Yeah. But I rode there, I want to say it was like a $400 board, and it blew out. It was still to this day one of the most favorite snowboards I've ever ridden in my life. Just damp enough, poppy enough. It just did everything well. And
Man, boards are so good. It's crazy. They're like, They're incredibly good. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy not more people ride them because I feel like they're really, that's really their thing though. They're like so into technology, like they're like so focused on that. And I think their boards are really, really good too. I really do think that.
Yeah, the Burton Custom kind of being like the watermark for that type of versatile do everything board, and this in my mind blew it away. Like if you had to keep on working off of the scale of the price point, this would be, if that was in the Burton line, this would be like towards the $1,000 end for the way that it rode, not off of maybe the materials and everything else behind it, but it was amazing.
Yeah, no, they're good, man, for sure. Definitely good boards.
And they used to make like Capita and Dinosaurs and a bunch of brand Rome, I think, like the Elan factory.
Yeah, I think it made almost like all the boards for a while. Like they made like everybody's stuff. And I don't know what's going on. Now it's like who's making everybody's stuff? Like Capita is now or something, or
The mothership,
yeah, in Austria. Was that the old Elan factory? Did they buy it or did they build their own thing?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. I have no idea what that kind of stuff. So out of touch.
So we have kind of a recurring question that we ask most podcast guests, and it's about like, if we were to tee up your top 3 favorite activities in your life and ask if you could only do one for the rest of your life, which one would you do and why? So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for you, I'd definitely say snowboarding, music, and then would skateboarding fill the third one, or is there something else?
I don't know, man. I'm like, I've only, like I said, I'm a monomaniac, and I've only really had 2 big obsessions in my life, so I don't even have a third. But I mean, I definitely really love skateboarding at some point.
So let's say between snowboarding and music, and I think I know the way you're going to answer based off of our conversation. If you could only do one for the rest of your life, which would it be?
I guess it'd definitely be music, but I'm really glad I don't have to make that decision. But yeah, it definitely would be music just because, I don't know. So I just don't know. So I love it so much. I love snowboarding too. I love them both. I don't know. Music though, yeah. Definitely music.
Cool. My buddy, my neighbor who's sometimes on the podcast, wants me to start asking people what upsets you. Is there anything that just you see and upsets? And it's because he is triggered by people chewing loudly, and he has to leave rooms sometimes, or he wants to punch people. He gets really upset by it. So he wants to know, what other people have similar triggers that just
what really burns your grits, honey? What
grinds your gears? Yeah.
Oh man, that is a good question. Let's see, what really bums me out? Shit, dude, I really can't think anything off the top of my head. Like, I don't really have anything that really makes me mad.
I think that's why I wouldn't organically ask that question, because I would be in the same spot as you. Like, I don't know, pretty easygoing,
Yeah, wait, let's see. There's got to be, I don't know, let me think. I know there's something, though, there's always something. I think, man, honestly, things that make me mad are like chemical related, like coffee. Coffee make me so grumpy. I swear, it gives me a chemical imbalance. I'm usually really up and happy, and it makes me exact opposite. I go as far as I usually am up, the pendulum swings the other way, and I'm all the way down. So I guess it's got to be things that I ingest into my body. Booze does that to me too. Especially now, I'm getting older. I'll drink booze and I'll be down in the dumpster a couple days. It's more stuff like that. I don't know. Nothing that other people do really. Just more things that I do to myself.
I love it, and I'm very similar struggle with both of those drugs, caffeine and alcohol.
Yeah, they're so acceptable. I think it's the socially acceptable part of them that makes them hard to kick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, because people would ask you, why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gus, this has been so fun, man. I thank you so much. I guess I would ask, do you have any parting words for our audience?
What is that Willy Wonka quote? I just watched Video Days. We are the dreamer of dreams, and we are the music makers. I think that's
I think that's very appropriate.
Are you the Willy Wonka of snowboarding, Gus?
I try to be. I don't know. I am. But, man, thank you guys. You guys are so cool, man. This is like a really good time. Like, it's nice to speak some English too, and just like, nice to talk with some people, with some of my countrymen. Even though I'm Canadian now, so I'm always speaking with my countrymen.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was really rad. And this isn't your first podcast, right?
Seriously, you guys seem really, really cool. And come to Quebec, that invitation is not hollow.
I've never been, and I've wanted to go, and I'll probably take you up on that. So I'll promise I'll bring snacks. You like Dave's Killer Bread, right? That's like, I can bring that.
Yeah, because they kicked me off the team.
They kicked you off?
I think they kicked everybody off the team, but I think like Dave got in like a crazy high speed chase and like was shooting at the cops and stuff. I think they had to like pay for his lawyer fees. Dave is crazy, man.
All right, sorry, we got to drop you.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Well, I can bring. I could bring maybe like a Papa Roach CD. Is that like something I can?
Oh man, just listened to a Papa Roach song yesterday because I was like listening to the Pixies on YouTube, like that song "Gouge Away." And I saw there was like a Papa Roach cover of it. I was like, oh god. I was thinking that's intuitive. Yeah. Poor Papa Roach. I think they played in Anchorage like not that long ago, which is like always like a low point in every musician's career.
I think it'd be cool to
I think it's not like that anymore, actually. I think like Anchorage is like they have like kind of bigger bands now. But yeah.
I saw like Waka Flocka Flame went to Alaska last year, and he played in like Anchorage. I think he played in Juneau and somewhere else. And I was like, that'd be kind of sick to see Waka. And like, I wonder what that would look like.
Dude, shows in Alaska are so cool, man, because like it's so isolated and people don't come often. So when people do come, it's like 100% crowd participation. Like it's crazy. People go off, like it's really cool, man. I don't know. It seems like more and more big bands are coming up. It's pretty cool.
I've heard that in like, I forgot what punk band was talking about that, but they went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and because people don't come there, everyone came out and everyone was hyped, whereas like people in New York and shit are like, I don't care. I've seen everybody, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly, man. You gotta like really do something special. Like all you gotta do is just show up in those other places and you're like doing fine.
Yeah. That's really rad. Yo, I had one. I mean, we don't have to put this in the podcast, but what are your boots made of? Are there any leather in your Celsius?
AJ's been trying to find out what Celsius boots are made out of for a while.
I'm trying to find like a vegan pair of boots, or the most vegan pair of like.
Are you vegan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, honestly, I can't certify them as vegan.
Okay.
That would be awesome if they were. I tried to be vegetarian. I was vegetarian for like. Well, I was vegetarian when I was growing up, and then I was vegetarian for like 3 years, like up until like recently. But I had trouble. Like I don't know. It's probably just because I was eating like nothing but like cereal. But I felt like all sick and stuff. I don't know. I hate eating meat though. I don't want to eat meat. So it feels so good to be a vegetarian. But yeah, maybe I'll try again.
Try to. I think the biggest thing is variety. And that's with any diet. But color. Like different colored things and not just like Skittles, but like, eat your greens, eat like things that are purple, red, orange, that are naturally like that. That's like a big thing. And as much variety as you can.
I think I was just not eating. Yeah. Like I think I was iron like deficient or something. Cause I just wasn't like eating like now I eat like spinach all the time.
Yeah,
like
spinach has a ton of iron. I think beans have some iron in them and, I'm trying to think what else. There's probably a short list of. Nobody
likes it, but kale has a lot.
You don't like kale?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody. A lot of people make fun of it. I like it. Yeah.
I love kale. Yeah. Who don't like kale?
It's like it's like the poster boy for making fun of being a vegetarian or like being kind of like.
Do you eat kale?
Yeah.
It's hip. Kale is hip right now. Kale is in.
It's kind of it's kind of fibrous. There's some chewing that needs to be done. It doesn't.
Oh, I'm sorry you have to chew your food. Sorry, that's so hard for everyone. Just give me a tube and just shove it down, man. Just mush.
Okay, I'm becoming a vegetarian again. Screw eating meat, man. I'm over it. So.
Well, if you push for a pair of any pro model anything that is like certified vegan vegetarian, I would buy it because I've been trying to. It's hard. It's skateboarding. It's not as hard. Like there's a little bit more. Like if Ed Templeton has a shoe come out, it's like. but snowboarding's a little harder. Finding like mitts and boots and even binding straps and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I mean, for me, it's made me not buy stuff, which is good because you're reducing your consumer footprint or whatever. But at the same time, binding straps are probably the hardest one for me because I rode synthetic boots for many years from 32. But I have binding straps behind me that union bindings are probably going on 8-9 years now. And then when I bought a new pair, I felt like I did something morally wrong. Like I didn't 100% need them. Like I could probably duct tape these things up and get a little bit more life out of them or something.
Man, I know what you mean. Like I feel like man, it sucks how much gear you need to go snowboarding. It's such a shame. Like just living in the north in general is so much harder to be like conscious about like what you're doing. Like you gotta heat your house and you gotta dry place. Like when I was living in Hawaii when I was little, it was like I just went in the jungle and like shook trees and like got fruit. Just took like baths in the ocean pretty much. But, like slept like in my little house, didn't buy shit. Like it sucks though. I don't know. I hate having to buy. I feel like I'm doing a lot better. It's crazy though. Like it instantly rewards you. Like as soon as you stop buying stuff, you feel like you not only like need to work less and like are more free like because of that, but like you also like feel better. You got like more money to like do stuff you want to do, and I don't know. Yeah, like I'm trying to do that too. It's man. Not being a consumer is so fun. Sometimes it's like the best, most freeing like experience, I think.
I'm getting there. I can't speak from that place yet, but I've been divesting of. We're sitting in a basement with probably 30 snowboards and probably next to 50 skateboards that I've collected over the years, and just
old Sims bindings,
all kinds of stuff. And it's just like letting go of this attachment of stuff. You feel lighter, and then there's the enjoyment that person that it's really meant for gets out of it too. You see the light that it brings to somebody else. Like, oh, this was meant for, I was just holding this. This isn't really mine. This was meant for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I have basements that look like that too, for sure. But just like 1,000 binding parts and shit. You're just like, oh my God, there's like a whole day's worth of like factory work for like the whole but yeah, what are you gonna do, man? It's just life is hard. It's hard not to feel guilty, but
yeah. It's just stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I gotta just,
I think being aware, and I mean, it's kind of weird, like sometimes in that position where you're trying to sell things, but you're also like, you don't need that many things. It's kind of a weird balance, but I find once I have a skateboard and a pair of shoes, then I'm like so happy and stoked, and I don't need more than that.
Yeah, exactly. You just got one. It's crazy when I think about shoes because, like you really only need like one pair at a time, really. Like, and it's crazy when you get down to that level. Even as much as I like love fashion, like I love fashion so much because it's such a creative exercise, and it's hard. It's really hard to balance. Like, I think the things that we have a natural proclivity towards, like as humans. And then like just not completely like destroying the planet, because it's like I think like creative things excite us, and then so oftentimes creative things are very like wasteful, like in a way, like snowboarding, skateboarding. Like think of how many skateboard decks you broken, or how many shoes you skated out.
Right. It's
crazy when you start thinking about it. It's like astronomical, but gotta find balance somewhere. Yeah, it's just I think. I saw one thing that made me feel better the other day. Like it was like on NPR or something, and they said like if you have like one less kid, then it's like reduces your carbon footprint by like I can't remember how much it was like in it, but it's like if you live responsibly your whole life, like this is how much you reduce your carbon footprint by. If you have like one less child, then this is how much you reduce your carbon footprint by. Okay, so at least I'm not doing that yet. So.
Oh man, I'm going to leave the front door to my house open and the water running, and still have a better carbon footprint because I don't have any kids.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you do anything to make, like even bringing your own bag to the grocery store and not using a plastic or a paper bag every time you go.
Yeah,
that's something. Like if everyone did that, I think it would be better. Or if you can find ways to reduce and just simplify your life.
Man, it's crazy. It's so crazy how easy it is. It's crazy how it just takes like one little decision. Like I've even been trying to I've been kind of following that like zero, or it's called zero waste, I guess, and like not having any trash. And man, like,
oh yeah,
like there's so you like start looking around your town, and like at least in Quebec City, like there's like I go to a place now and like fill up my shampoo bottle with like shampoo, like I bring it there.
Yeah.
I my peanut butter at like this local grocery store, like, and it's crazy, man. Like I'm like I have so much less garbage. It's crazy. Like, and it's just a couple little decisions like that instead of like, I don't know, and like bringing bags too, like you said, like
those have to be like cultural mind shifts, culturally accepted mind shifts. And it's funny you mentioned Hawaii. I went grocery shopping in Hawaii and they didn't have any bags. I don't know if that was every grocery store there or not, but it was the one time that I went grocery shopping and I bought all this stuff and they're like, "Where's your bag, dude?" I'm like, "I don't know. Dude, don't have a bag." I had to go in the back and like scrounge up some boxes and like, like seriously, other people. It was a big production.
Freaking Hallie's over here.
They hooked it up, but I mean, it wasn't. There wasn't going to be any additional bag at any point.
Yeah, I mean that's so cool. I think it's like, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's just like, yeah, it's not too hard to do. Like, makes you feel good too. And, yeah. I think here they charge you a little bit for bags, and I think that's a good way to like get people to do it. Is like just charge them a little bit of money, and then they'll start doing it.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna go extinct. No problem. I have to pay 50 cents for a bag. Okay.
I think
sign me up. Like I'm gonna start bringing my bags.
I might have told this story before, so sorry any podcast listeners have heard this, but I grew up in West Virginia, and I was here a few years ago, and I brought my bag to grocery shop, and the lady started bagging groceries. Like, "Oh, I have my own bag," and the guy behind me in line was on his phone and was like, on his phone, he said, "Hold up a second." He's like, "You brought your own bag? Why?" And looked at me like I was crazy. But if you go to like a lot of places on the West Coast, it's like, "Oh, where's your bag?" Like, oh, and they'll give you a credit. Like, you can donate to charities if you bring your own bags. They'll give you a credit. So it's almost like, oh, you don't want to donate to this charity then? Like,
the culture shift.
And it was just such a different idea that, like, why would they have bags here? Why would you bring a bag? But it's like, oh, I like this cloth bag and put everything in it.
That's so incredible. Yeah. That's like Alaska. Alaska has like both of those cultures, and they all are living together. Like, it's like the people that are there from Texas to like work in the oil fields, and then like all the hippies that are there because it's really beautiful. So it's like just like a mix of that. Like everywhere you go, it's like at least two different parts of the country. It like works out a little better. But up in Alaska, it's like they're constantly confronted with one another.
Well, Gus, I think that's a rad spot to end it. Thanks again, man. This was so rad.
Yeah, man, you guys are so cool, man. I hope I talk to you guys soon, and have a good day.
Thanks, you as well.
Thank
you. Bye. So what did you think of our chat with Gus? Please let us know. Leave a comment on our Facebook page or Instagram. If you haven't already, please take 2 minutes right now, open up iTunes on your computer, and leave a review of the podcast. The reviews are heavily weighted by Apple's search algorithm, and it really helps more people find the show. You can also help by telling a friend about the podcast or sharing episodes on your social media channels. Thanks again for everyone that's made a habit of clicking through the Amazon banner ad at the podcast support page before shopping on Amazon. Again, that's a no-cost way that monetarily helps support the show. Amazon just kicks us a small commission for whatever you're going to buy anyways. Until next week, peace.